Hello all, welcome to Photoguru. In this session, we will learn how we can edit a blue color cast image from scratch to final stepwise. Let's start with it. Firstly, we are going to open today's folder and then raw folder. In this folder, we can see some images which are from the same property. This is bedroom shot. If we zoom in to the windows, we can clearly see that this photo is shot in a rainy day. As you can see, due to this, we can clearly see blue on the window view. We can see the red tone in the internal shot. If we take white balance from the red, we will get two greens. So we have to take casting wisely while editing the shot. We have to edit window view in such a manner that light is entering inside. We have to add some saturation to the external view and have to apply warmth to the internal part, so to add some life to the shot. If we don't do a good color correction to this picture, then it will move towards grayscale. If I zoom in to the wall, we can also see that this wall have texture on it. You can see here. So while brightening, we have to take care of this texture. Rest looks fine. Let's move on to the next image. This shot is the same room shot from different angle. We can see some blues on the bed over here. Rest issues are same as before shot. Coming to next image. Which is from living room. We can clearly see there is texture onto the left wall. Over here, if you look at clearly, there's some texture. The color of the wall, which is gray, can be seen properly in both light as well as in dark shot. If you will look at, due to raining dark weather, there is lots of blues over the windows here, in which we have to put warmth to stop looking it as there is no light source. Slight alignment can be done, can be applied. Apart from it, the rest image in terms of alignment looks good. Let's move on to the next image. Same issue with this image. Apart from the same issues, we see a fancy kind of lighting underneath the upper kitchen cabinets. In some cases, if we feel the fancy lighting is not looking good, then we have to remove this kind of lighting effect, this kind of. Otherwise, we leave it if it looks good. While doing color correction, we have to take care of warmth level onto the walls. Apart from that, rest looks fine. Again, this is the same kitchen shot with different angle. This also have the same kind of issues which this image have. The fancy lighting, the darkness all over, and the grayscale color all need to be balanced. So okay, so before starting the editing, let's look at to our style guide reference folder. I already have taken out one example from our style guide as a reference. The editing which you are going to do, it looks quite similar, so let's look at it. If you look at, see, there's warmth onto the grays over here. There's a good kind of lighting applied. We see some shadows. The depth is looking quite good in this picture. There is no excess saturation or vibrance we can see all over. It looks quite natural and aesthetically good. So all this we have to maintain in our today's image. So let's start with the process of editing now. Step 1, importing images to Lightroom. For this, we have to open our today's folder, which I have already opened. And from today's folder, we have to select the image and then drag and drop it onto the Lightroom icon. But for now, as you can see, a cross mark on it, because this thing is disabled in Windows 11, but it works in Windows 10 and below that version. So in Windows 11, while you're dragging, you have to press Alt Tab, then go to the Lightroom, and then drop it onto the canvas like this. Then you have to click on Import. This is how we import the images in Lightroom. Step 2, stacking. Right click on any of the image. First, before that, you have to select an image and right click on it. Then go to stacking, auto stack by capture time. You have to put seconds as 2. Then it will automatically detect that how many stacks are there, like it is now detecting one stack, because this is one stack. So then you have to click on stack. Now you can see both have collapsed, and we can see number 2 over here, because this is 2 exposure stack. So that if it is 3, then it could have written 3 over here. Now step 3 is HDR merging. To merge the HDR, to make an HDR, you have to right click on the stacked image, go to photo merge and HDR. You can even press Ctrl H to open the HDR merge preview window. So here you can see I have checked on auto align and auto settings, because auto align is like this thing automatically aligns the image, and auto settings gives auto correction to the image. And here you know about it, that in previous videos I have talked about this degauss amount, that it's supposed to be none in internals, but in externals we have to use low, medium, high accordingly if there is some movement in the image, like leaves are leaves have some like motion into it due to wind. Maybe in lighter shot it have some motion, and in darker one it have some difference. So if we are going to merge this kind of image, there will be a ghost effect into the leaves. So for now I'm clicking on none, because this is an this is internal shot and there is no motion in this picture. So press on merge to create the merge HDR. Now as you can see, a new image has been created with .dng extension. This is the HDR which we got now. Now as you can see, this image is full of red tone. You can see the white portion of this image. This have redness into it. The windows, this have too much of blues, because it's raining outside. You can see the droplets onto the glasses, and it's raining outside. That's the reason there's a lack of light, the sunlight in the outside view, and that's the reason it is showing too much of blue intensity into the windows. If we zoom in a bit, we see lots of grains over here. This all need to be removed. You can see some purple lines onto the edges of some things, some objects, some area. These are known as chromatic aberration, and this need to be removed. Here you can see some chromatic aberration over here. So a lot more to correct. You can also see that the horizontal of this image is not perfect. This is also we are going to align, and yeah, this much we have to do. Even though if you look at some areas looks pretty dark, and there we are going to apply some brightness. This is a textured wall, as you can see. This is a plain wall, plain gray wall, and this have some texture into it, this wall. So we have to maintain that one also, and we can maintain by not applying too much of brightness onto it, because if we apply, we will lose the texture onto it. We see a little bit of more redness to the sofa, and this is what you're going to remove. Again, this is chromatic aberration, you can see onto the curtain. This also we are going to remove, and there's some blues over here too. This is what we're going to sort. As this image is gray, we are not going to make it look more gray. We are going to add some warmth to it, because if we are going to leave it as gray, there will be no life into it. So, and even though it will not even look welcoming kind of image, so it's better we just add some warmth to it. So these are the issues we have discussed in this image. Let's move on to step 4, which is lens correction. Go to the develop module, scroll down to the lens correction tab. Here you can see remove chromatic aberration. If I zoom in a bit, if we press on it, you can see over here, if you can see, when I'm switching on and off, the purple is slightly getting off from this image. So this is actually removing it slightly. It doesn't remove 100% of this thing, because you can see over here it is still left. So it removes like around 60 or 70% automatically, but rest we have to do manually, but it works. So we have to press on remove chromatic aberration, then we have to click on enable profile correction. Enable profile correction gives brightness, adds brightness to the corners of this image, because while clicking an image or while taking a shot of an internal or any picture, camera adds vignetting to the photos. So this is what we do in Lightroom. We enable it. It automatically detects what kind of camera make, model, and profile have used, the lens profile. But I think the vignetting is removed too much. So we are going to make it less. You can see there's a vignetting tab over here. This 100%. So we are going to reduce it slightly, like this. 77 is perfect. After setting up these things, we have to go to transform, and here we have to click on constraint crop. Constraint crop is a thing by which, if after aligning we see white borders, this constraint crop will crop that white borders. So we have to press auto. Why we are using auto? First of all, because many of the images got corrected automatically by pressing on the auto. So if we didn't get the desired result, we have to switch it off and then have to apply manual transformation. But for now, as you can see that the alignment is looking fine. If I mouse over onto any of the slider, we can see the grids, and you can see that the verticals are looking perfect. And so we have done our lens correction part. Step 5, tonal adjustment. For this one, we have to scroll to the up for the basic panel over here. We have to adjust these tones over here, but you can see that it have already got some values. This is because at the time of making HDR, we have clicked on auto settings, and that have applied auto settings to this image. But sometimes we get the good result by clicking on auto settings, sometimes we don't. Like for now, as you can see that we still got so much of issues, so we're going to do some manual corrections over here. So the let's bring up this thing and highlights go down. Why I'm using highlight down? To get some more details onto the highlighted area, and removing shadows will open up blacks in this picture and maintain that brightness into it. So also we have to maintain some more blacks, and that is going to give some more good result. And whites, if we move it on, move further, we will see white too much in this image. Let's increase a bit of more contrast over here. Looks fine. Uh, to see the before and after window, you have to press Y, and here we can see what is the before one and what we have got after. Here again, switch it back to the normal window. You will see vibrance 15, saturation 2. This is because of the auto settings. It have applied these settings, but we always have to make it 0. So let's make it 0. We don't want extra color to be added automatically to the picture. And yeah, so our toner adjustment is done over here. Uh, so while doing these adjustment, we also have to apply brush and masking in order to balance overall lighting. Like you can see that still this area is a little bit more dark. This is too much highlighted. This is highlighted. So what we can do in order to get all these things corrected, we have to use the adjustment brush. So we can click on the masking first of all, take the brush, and we have to, if you have to decrease the brightness onto this and this part, we have to simply decrease the exposure. Make sure your flow is 40, density 100, and feather 100. Feather 100 because if you're going to make it more towards 0, your brush will become hard, and that is going to leave patches behind. So let's do it. Here we can also use the highlight to decrease the highlight onto that area. Looks good. We have to press done to end this brush. Again, we have to take a new brush. Here you can add and then click on brush again. This time we are going to increase brightness, so exposure towards the plus. Like I said, I'm going to apply the brightness over here. Let's apply it. Looks pretty good. The result is good. Now step 6, white and color balance. So you can see that we have got too much of red and here too much blues. So this is what we are going to sort in this step. To take white balance, we have a tool over here called white balance selector tool, or you can press simply W to select this tool. Uh, you can see that wherever I'm taking up my picker tool over here, you can see the live result that it is changing the color over here. We can see like what result we are going to get. We will see that in this window. And there's one more thing, whenever you are taking casting, we always have to see that from which area we are taking casting. Like we cannot take casting from the colored wall. We can only take the casting from a white wall or white object. Like this is white, this is white. Here we can take casting from here. From here we can take casting from the ceiling wall, and from the photo frame we can take casting because these all are white in color. And we also have to take care of while taking casting that the area is a mid-tone area where there is not uh, much lighting and nor too dark. So we have to take care of that thing also. So for now I'm choosing my mid-tone area, which is this one. I'm going to click once. Here you can see, if I again open the preview before after window, you can see the difference. Like before it had too much of red, and now it have given too much of greens. But this is not somewhat good. We have got like greens is pretty heavy in this image. So this is what we will deal by manually correcting the tint. You can see if I move this slider towards positive, we see lots of purple in this image. If we move towards green, we see more green. So we are going to balance somehow this thing. So let's balance this tint. Let's take it as 8, which is too much. 6 is fine. Let's see the refractive window. Okay, looks good. I think we have to increase one more, which is 7. Okay, this is fine. Okay, pretty much. Sorry, this thing color I've added. And, okay, let's scroll down. We want all over vibrance to get decreased a little bit. So I'm going to all over decrease the vibrance a little bit, not much, because excess removing colors will result a grayscale image. So we don't want that. As I said before, that we always want to add warmth to our image to make it more inviting. So now, uh, step 7, final touch-ups in terms of color and tone. So in this step, we check that our tonal value and the colors are perfect or not. We are going to again do it. So let's increase a bit of contrast. Like there is less uh, depth in this picture, and it is getting pretty hazy. So I'm increasing my contrast over here to get rid of that. A little bit of blacks with more contrast. Let's see the before window. Looks perfect for me. And this time I'm going to take masking brush again and plus brush, and this time I'm going to add a bit of warmth to the window. So increasing warmth. To decrease the brush size, you have to scroll down or up for brush size to increase or decrease. That's how you can manage the brush size. Let's increase a bit of applying warmth to the windows. Over here too. Looks good, but as I can see that a little bit of greens are more onto the wall. So what we can do, we can simultaneously increase a bit of tint. I mean, this is going to add up in this brush. Wherever we have brushed the temperature, the tint is also going to add on to that area. So slight tint. Maybe we can slightly decrease the highlight to get more detail of the window view. So now this is looking good. Now, step 8 is maintaining consistency with same room images. So now in this step, we are going to maintain the color. We are going to see that what color we have like applied into this image by looking into the sister images of the same room. We are going to check that. We are going to maintain the consistency from that image. Let's go to the image. So this is the sister image. Okay, let's see the color we have applied. Okay, this is pretty fine, looks good. We have to increase the brightness on the ceiling wall to match it with the sister image. Okay. So this is what we have to do. Otherwise, this is looking good in terms of color. Okay, so now in Photoshop, we are going to apply a bit of more brightness to ceiling wall over here. We're going to reduce a bit of color from here and here. We're going to see if we can get some more detail onto Photoshop. We're going to match the wood color because we cannot do that thing in Lightroom, but in Photoshop we can do this thing. So all these things need to be done in Photoshop. So let's export this image. So to export, we have to right click on the image and then export and then export. So here we have to always check that the quality remains 100 and the resolution remains 300 pixel per inch. So these two settings we always have to see while exporting the image. So let's export by clicking on export. So now our image is being exported. Okay, it has been exported. Let's go to that image. So here, this is the exported image. This one. Step 10, importing in Photoshop. Now we're going to import the exported image from the Lightroom. To import in Photoshop, we are again going to drag and press on Alt tab to go to Photoshop and then drop it onto the Photoshop canvas. So as you can see that in Photoshop we are going to apply a bit of brightness to the ceiling wall. We are going to add a bit of more warmth, remove the chromatic aberration from the window, from the curtain. We are going to balance the wood to match it with the sister images. And the important thing is that the grains, these are the main thing which we have to remove, because here if we leave the grains behind, the image will not look good. So we are going to remove the grains also. So all these things need to be done in Photoshop. Step 11, adjustment like brightness control, light bleed adjustment, white balance, color balance, noise reduction, sharpness. So all things we are going to do in this step. The first thing is we're going to adjust the brightness. To adjust the brightness, we are going to go to the adjustment panel. From here, we are going to choose brightness and control. We're going to lift up the brightness slightly up and close it. We're going to press Ctrl I to invert the mask. We're going to take brush with white foreground color. White is always known to reveal and black is always known to hide the things. So let's apply the brightness. We're going to increase and decrease the brush size as per the need. Opacity always supposed to be 12, flow 100, and let's apply it. Now you can increase or decrease the brush size with the help of bracket open and close. So these are the shortcuts by which you can speed up your things. So I'm slightly applying the brightness first of all onto the ceiling wall, like I said before. Here, if you switch on and off, you can see the result. To merge the both layer, press Ctrl E or right click on the above layer and merge down. Now uh, we have to see the light bleed, but I don't see any light bleed into this image. So we're going to move to the next one, which is white balance. For white balance, we have to take the duplicate of this layer by pressing Ctrl J, Ctrl M to open up the curves, and then again from wit tone we are going to pick up the color. So to pick the color, we have to press Ctrl Shift and click on the image. Now we are going to see red color, which is 195, green 193, blue is 198. That means blue is the highest value over here. We are going to copy the blue and paste it onto the green and then red. We always have to copy up the highest value and paste it onto the other low valued color. Again, fade the mask, inverse, Control I, and then brush with opacity 12, and then brush onto the areas where you feel there is too much of blue. Merge it. So we again, like I said, we have to remove the chromatic aberrations in the curtain and the door frame. To remove it, you have to press Ctrl J to duplicate the layer. Go to Filter, Camera Filter, zoom in, and from here just scroll down, go to the optics, and from here you will see purple amount under defringe. Increase it, you can see the effect. Press OK. Again, clear the mask, Control I to invert. Take the brush and remove these things around the doors and then onto the curtains from here. So the chromatic aberration has been removed now. Control E to merge, or right click on the above layer and merge down. Now we are going to remove the noise. To remove the noise, we are going to zoom in, go create a new layer by pressing Ctrl J, go to Filter, Camera Filter, zoom in a bit. Onto the detail section, we are going to open this one, and from here we are going to reduce the noise reduction as per our need and press OK. Again, take the mask, Control I to invert, take the brush, foreground as white color. Let's start with it, and we can use even 40 as an opacity of the brush, because wall is in plain area, and here we can use 40, 50, 60 brush according to our need, because this is a plain surface. But in texture wall, we have to take care of that part, because we don't want our excess noise removal to be applied onto the texture part, because we may lose the detail on it. So we can always apply this thing more onto the plain areas, like walls are plain. Some objects which have a plain surface, we can apply 60-70% of the noise removal onto that one also. So the noise has been removed now, as you can see. If I zoom in a bit more, if I switch on and off, you can clearly see that the noise is like getting off from the area. Now Control E to merge. Now we are going to apply sharpness to this image. To apply the sharpness, you have to press Control J. For the filter, sharpen, unsharp mask. The value is supposed to be 160 as an amount, radius 2, and then apply it. Zoom in. If I switch on and off, you will see that it has been applying everywhere, but we don't want this thing to be applied everywhere. So we are going to create a mask again. Control I to invert. Take white as a foreground color and then apply onto some areas. Okay, this is quite good. Control E to merge. Now step 12 is item removal. As we can see that there is nothing to be removed in this image, so we're going to leave this step. Now step 13 is self QA. In this step we are going to see that that the image is looking aesthetically good and matching to its other shots. So let's open the image. So as you can see, the sister image of this same room shot is looking pretty bright, and in this one we see it as a little dull as comparison to this one, and maybe we are going to reduce a bit of more warmth from this image. So let's do it to match with it. To first of all, to apply the brightness, we can use the adjustment, but for now we can even use to apply the brightness we can use either the brightness from here, or we can use camera. So I've created a layer by pressing Ctrl J, the duplicate layer, and then go to filter, camera filter. For the basic, increase a bit of whites. You can increase a bit of more contrast. That's okay. Now you can see the effect overall, that how it is looking. It's looking pretty good. But we are not going to leave it overall. So for this one, we are going to create mask. Control I to invert. Take the brush with opacity 12 and slightly apply it wherever we require. Looks pretty good. Control E to merge. To match the color, again take the duplicate of the background layer. Go to filter, camera filter. This time I'm going to reduce a bit of vibrance in the image. Slight blacks and shadows up. Press OK. Create mask. Control I to invert. Take the brush and then apply onto the areas where require. Okay, so we have reduced wherever it is required. Control it to merge. Let's look at our sister image of the same shot. Still we see a bit of more redness onto our shot because this is not matching with it. So again what we can do is, like, again create a copy of the, again create a duplicate of the background layer. Go to filter, camera filter, and this time we are going to reduce a bit of tint and a bit of vibrance. Control and then press OK. Let's see. Okay, this is matching this scheme. So take the mask, control invert, take the brush with opacity 12 and then apply onto areas. Let's increase a bit of opacity by 20. Control E to merge. Let's check. Okay, this is quite matching. So this is good enough. Self QA is done. Let's check the alignment. To check the alignment, you have to create the duplicate of the layer. Control T to activate the transform tool. And now we have to check with the help of these guides. So as you can see, a bit of horizontal can be done over here. So right click and then click on skew. From here, drop it down. From here we can see a disbalance on the horizontal. So slightly up, little bit of vertical can be done. Over here you can see slight vertical. So skew and then from here skew outside and from here right. It's looking good. Now enter to close the tool. To end the tool, now you can see. Now control E to merge down or merge the layers. Step 14 is resize. To resize the image, we have to go to image, image size, and from here you have to click on this one, constraint crop on, 2500 up, 1667 down, and press OK. If this is like 1 pixel down or up, you have to switch it off and manually put the value and press OK. And then save it. This is a client ready image. This is what we send to our clients. Thank you very much.